Hey y'all, let's decorate some rootin' tootin' cowboy boot cookies. Hi, I'm Leslie with Leslie's Cookies and Treats, and if you love decorating sugar cookies or you want to learn how, you're in the right place. Let's decorate together. I'm so happy y'all are here today. Saddle up and grab your piping bags. All the supplies you need are listed in the description, and let's get to decorating. So I'm using a brown royal icing in a 15-second consistency, and I'm just going to outline the top part of this cowboy boot cookie. To outline, I'm going to touch down with my icing to the cookie, lift up my piping bag just a little bit, and then slowly and carefully go around the outside edge, watching my line of icing where it's falling and not my piping bag. And once I've got that outlined, I'm going to use the same exact icing to flood that in. And because my icing is a 15-second consistency, I can go right up to the edge without worrying that it's going to overflow. And once you've got that flooded in enough that you can move your scribe or your toothpick around easily without scraping the cookie, go ahead and settle the icing down and make sure that you pop any air bubbles and get it all nice and smooth. If you can still see bumps in the flood, when it dries, those bumps will still be there. And then go ahead and let that top part of the boot dry while you go ahead and pipe a line for the sole of the shoe and then outline the heel and fill that in. Again, use your scribe to settle this icing down. Make sure that it gets all the way down to the cookie so that you don't get a crater. And then set it aside to dry for about 15 to 20 minutes. And once that black icing has crusted over, you can come back in and flood in the rest of the boot with the brown royal icing. Once again, using your scribe to settle this icing down and make sure it's nice and smooth, and shape it where you need to. And then set the boot aside to dry until it crusts over, and then come back in with your tan icing, and you're going to want to touch down and draw a line from the top part of the boot down to the bottom part, and then a line in the crease. And to do this, you're just going to want to touch down your icing, lift up, and then follow along as you apply even pressure on your piping bag and watch where your line of icing is falling rather than your piping bag. Stop squeezing and touch down on the other end. And then we're going to make some little boot decorations. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to touch down with our icing, lift up our piping bag, and slowly make a curl, a little swirl design here, and watching where our line of icing is falling rather than our piping bag. You don't want to lift up too high, just a little bit, and then follow it around. And you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side before we move down here to the bottom of the boot. We'll touch down, lift up, and slowly go around with our icing, pulling a line and dropping it down where we need it to go. Now my line didn't go exactly as I wanted, so I took a dampened paintbrush and I wiped off all of the excess water on a paper towel. And I'm just going to move this line over. And I forgot to tell you, my icing consistency for this is about a 25-second consistency, so it's a little bit stiffer than what I would use to flood a cookie with. And that means I can easily move it over with my paintbrush. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So touch down, lift up, drag a line, touch down when you get to the top, and then go back down. And the whole time you're applying even pressure to your piping bag is just slightly lifted up off your cookie, and you follow it around, pulling your line and laying it down where you need it to go. And then all that's left to do is fill in this little top part here, and then use your scribe to settle that down. And then this rootin' tootin' cowboy boot is done. And thank you for riding along with me. Give this video a boot up by liking and subscribing. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Also, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Yeehaw!